Hello everyone, Burb here. I wanted to do another side topic today. I thought this topic would be pretty quick and easy to talk about, but as per usual, it's a lot more complicated than expected, and there's a lot of different tangents, but they were all quite interesting to me, so I'm actually quite excited to talk about this topic. Let's talk about the daily pull button. If you don't know what it is, the daily pull button is a way that you can spend 50 paid carats, so carats that you spend real money to obtain, in lieu of a normal 150 carat pull. You can do this once per day. It refreshes every day on a banner, and of course there's like 14 days per banner, so you can do this up to 14 times. What I'm not talking about today is, hey, if you're going to pity, if you press this button, you're saving 100 carats. It's as simple as that. So if you're able to be patient and do this 14 times, and then on the last day pull for the rest of your card, you are saving 100 carats per time you press this button. That is the obvious. We are not talking about that situation today. Today, I would like to talk about the basically daily pull trickle of pressing this button every single time on a banner and then having no intention of going to pity. So just imagine day one, you want, let's say, a Uma, you press it. Hey, you don't get it. You go to day two, day three, all the way to the end of the banner. You don't end up getting the Uma. Unfortunate. Have you wasted anything mathematically? That is what I am trying to answer today. This complicates the math a little bit. So this is an expected value problem. The expected value equation is essentially the number of outcomes times the probability. So if you have 200 trials to pity and you have a 0.75% chance, it's just 200 times 0.75. We are talking about a single goal today, so we don't need the summation of every single success. We only have one type of success. And also, if we are talking about a single pull to start, our number of trials is equal to 1. So we have 1 trial, and in order to get a specific 3-star character or a specific 3-star SSR, it is 0.0075 or 0.75% chance of grabbing it. So essentially, each pull gives us 0.0075 of a actual card. So we have an expected value of this much. Another way to think about it is that, hey, in order to get 1 copy, how many pulls would we on average have to do? Well, we just move some algebra around and we find that 1 divided by 0.0075. The expected value of a single pull is that, hey, in 133.33 pulls, we get a copy on average. So a pull is 133.3333 of a actual SR. All right? SSR, sorry. The expected number of pulls per pity, we basically do the same math. We have 200 of these 133ths, and we just do 200 divided by 133, and we get about 1.5 copies per pity. And this is the reason why the 2 pity suggestion exists. So 60,000 carats will on average give you an MLB, because 400 divided by 133 gives you an expected value of 3. You add the 2 pities that you get for rolling for 400, and you get 5 total copies, which is an MLB SSR card. So that is why I suggest saving 60,000 carats in order to actually get an SSR to MLB. The pity has an expected value of 1. You reach the pity, you have 1 card. You can select whatever card you want, so that is your pity. Now, if you are trying to incorporate this into the actual value of a single pull with the intention of going to pity, it's a little bit more complicated because we have to figure out whether or not we care about duplicates. There are situations in which we don't care about duplicates because, let's say, we are trying to just grab a 3-star character. If we were to grab that character at any point in the 200 pulls, we stop, right? We don't go to pity in that case. In that case, duplicates do not matter. If we're trying to MLB a card and we're on, like, let's say 1 LB and we still have a ways to go, then duplicates 100% matter, because if we get a card, right? If we get a card, then we're still continuing on to pity, right? So this is the question of, do duplicates matter? And the math changes slightly. If dupes do matter, our expected value increase is just simply 1 out of 200, because the expected value of pity is 1 and we require 200 pulls. So you divide it across the whole 200 pulls. Technically, the expected value is 100% increase on the 200th pull, but because our intent is to go to pity, we can split it across the entirety of the action of going to pity. So each one of these pulls has an additional expected value increase of 0.005. So we would add an additional 0.5% essentially. So 0.0075 plus 0.0050 means that our expected value of every pull, assuming we are going to pity, is 0.0125. If dupes do not matter, let's say we're pulling on a 3-star character, we have to add the expected value of the pull, but our pity is only applicable if we do not get the card or we do not get the 3-star Uma. So this is only applicable in failure chance, which is P of 0 when we don't receive it. So we have our expected value of the pull, but then we add the odds of getting 0 copies, and then we divide it by the total number of trials. So our odds of getting 0 is the expected failure chance equation, which is 1 minus the probability of success raised to the number of trials. So if we have a 0.0075% chance and we do 200 trials to pity, we have a 0.9925% chance of not getting it over 200 trials, and we have a 22.2% chance over the course of the 200 pulls to get to pity to not get a single copy. This is, if you see the Henry Hansen calculator, that's what that 22% chance of 0 LB of 0 LB is on the calculator when you put in 200 pulls. That is how they calculate this. So if dupes do not matter, we take that 22.2% and we divide it over the whole of the 200 pulls. So 0.0075 plus the added effective value of 0.0011 or 0.11% means essentially an effective pull is about 0.86% of a actual SSR card. So every pull we do is 0.86% expected of an SSR pull. Obviously, this changes if, let's say, the first pull is weighted more than the second pull is weighted more than the third pull. This is a slight simplification. This is linear, and the actual thing is exponential, but the total combined over 200 is this 22.2%. So I am dividing this linearly for simplicity reasons. It is exponential technically. The first ones are weighted more than the last ones, but what we get here is if we are not intending to go to pity, so for any reason we do not go to pity, and our intent particularly is not to go to pity. So if you pull 199 copies and you're unable to get to pity, your expected pulls per copy aggregate is 133. That's what we did at first. If dupes do not matter, and we're pulling on a character, but we intend to go to pity and we fully embrace the fact that we are spending 200 pulls, we immediately increase our value to 116 expected pulls per copy. If dupes do matter and we have a full intent of going to pity, we have an expected pulls per copy aggregate of 80. Now, the big thing is just our intent has changed the actual probability. How can our intent change math is the question. Just because, there's chances we don't go to pity, even if we don't, if we pull the character early, we don't go to pity, even if we intend to go to pity. This is conditional probability. It is something that does exist. The most famous version of it is the Monte Hall problem. So the Monte Hall problem, I'm going to explain it. This is, I guess, a tangent, but imagine you're on a game show. You have 3 doors, and you have 2 goats, and you have 1 car, and you want the car. So you want the car and not the goats. And the host says, hey, let's pick a door. You're trying to pick a door, and you pick door number 2. Then the host goes and says, hey, I'm going to open door number 3 and show you it's a goat. If you want the car, what should you do? Should you switch to door number 1? You're given the option to switch. Or should you maintain door number 2? Now, if you think about it, it should be a 50-50. But it's actually a 2 out of 3 chance because of conditional probability. And the reasoning is because you have essentially changed the conditions, your input conditions. Originally, you made the decision between a 1 in 3 chance to get the car itself, right? It could be in 2, it could be in 1, it could be in 3. By receiving new information, we have changed our inputs. So we have a 1 in 3 chance of having the car on our door and a 2 of 3 chance of not having the car in our door. Basically, before it was split 1 in 3 on both sides. Now that we know it's not in door number 3, that probability, because we haven't changed yet, gets pushed over to the other door. So the same chance because we haven't changed anything, we haven't made a decision, so we haven't changed the probability, we still maintain a 33% chance of having the car on our door, which means that the other option must have the full 100% chance. That is math. So we have essentially made, we should switch every time, is basically what the Monte Hall problem is saying. So if you want the car, you have a 66% chance. If you switch it, because you have merged the both options into the same one, if you have made this new decision. In the same way, what I'm trying to get with this is, because we are changing, because our intent is to go to pity, we have changed the conditions in that we eliminate the situation where our expected value is always 0. So if we go to 199, we have the chance of getting 0 no matter what we do. If we go to 200, the chance, if we do not pull anything, still has an expected value of 1. Because we have changed the condition that even at 200, if we don't pull at all, we don't get lucky at all, and we get incredibly unlucky, we still get 1 copy out of it. We change our baseline, and because of that, the expected pull value, just from the conditions and because of our intent, we are able to change the probability. It's kind of fascinating, to be honest, and like I said, it's a little bit different than the Monte Hall problem, but it's the same basis, is that conditions can change probabilities just from intent. So we're going to extrapolate this onto the actual cost. And this is the big thing, is that we have our 3 situations. We are daily pulling without the intent of going to pity, or we are spending the full 150 carats, but we are going to pity, and we have 2 situations of the dupes not mattering for characters or the dupes mattering for SSR cards. I'm going to grab a drink of water. Sorry. So the math is simple. We take our percentage probability, so our base percentage probability of 0.075%, we divide it by the 50 carats, and we find it's 0.00015 cards per carat. Or the easier way to say it is, it costs us 6,667 carats to get a singular card, because it's discounted by a 2-to-1 margin. If dupes do not matter, we take our new probability of 0.0086, we divide it by 150, and we end up finding our cost is 17,441 carats per card. And if dupes do matter, like an SSR card, well, we take our 0.0125, we divide by 150, and we find our cost is 12,000 carats. So by pressing the daily pull button, even without the intention of going to pity, our cost is lower than if we were going to pity on a normal 200 pull banner, whether or not we get it or not. Because if the dupes do not matter, whether or not we're just trying to go for 1 copy, our expected cost is lower. So you actually lose nothing from pressing the 1 per day button, as long as what you are pulling for actually has value. So the 1 per day button wins. So the daily pull wins, and it has a better value than even going to pity on any banner. So it's the best button in the game as far as gacha is concerned. So Umamusume gacha is officially pay to win. We have mathematically proven the thing that everybody already knows, because you can credit card swipe, and yeah, you get as many pulls as you want, right? This is just another facet into that. So things to remember: 1, there is no fail safe. I say this every single time I talk about something that doesn't go to pity. So hypothetically, you can just be the unluckiest person, yada, yada, yada. You should only do this on nice to haves. What I mean by this is, you shouldn't press this button on every single banner all the time. What you shouldn't do with this button is, don't press it to get a 0 LB copy of something. It has no value giving you a 0 LB fine motion, because you are not replacing your card at all. A 0 LB Kidison Black is pretty much useless because a standard SR is better than it. You also shouldn't do this on situations where it really matters if you get it. So you want to plan your pull plan so that the things that actually matter, you are guaranteeing that you get. So you can get lucky, but most times you're not going to go from 2 LB fine motion to 3 LB fine motion. And because it's so significant, the 88% of the time that you're going to fail in the 14 pulls, let's say, it's catastrophic. And because it's catastrophic, you need to use pities on it in the catastrophic cases, right? The situations where you should do it are, the most common one is if you like a character, she is not your Oshi, you can't necessarily you can't justify spending 200 pulls on it. And you have the exact thought that I would like this character, I would not mind pulling this character. However, I can't invest 200 pulls on it, and I do not mind if I do not get it. A lot of people like Admire Vega. She's also not meta. She's not an Oshi for a lot of people. But hey, if you like the character and your pull plan can allow you to just spend some paid carats, or you're willing to spend, the 15, 20 bucks for the 750 gems on it, it's not the worst thing in the world to just press the 1-a-day button. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Eventually, you'll hit on some of the banners, right? The other situation, which is a little more convoluted, but it does exist, is let's say you are pulling on the Mr. CB banner, and your first pity you go to LB1 and it's nice, right? And you wouldn't mind LB2. It's still better than LB1, but it doesn't have as much value as getting your LB1. But you can afford like 20 more pulls on your pull plan, and it's fine. You could decide to daily pull after you go to the first pity, because you are getting a better expected value than pity, then going to pity again. And you don't necessarily need that third copy of Mr. CB, because the second copy is perfectly serviceable for your personal goals. This is also useful in the case where, hey, you pulled the Mr. CB in the first banner, and you wouldn't mind another copy of Mr. CB, and maybe you have a few copies of, you have like a 3LB Super Creek and a 1LB Mr. CB. Maybe you trickle pull, you daily pull on the dual banner, because you wouldn't mind having a 2LB or 3LB or MLB Super Creek, and you wouldn't mind having an MLB Mr. CB. But if you don't get it, it's not the worst thing in the world. They're two perfectly serviceable cards at your current levels. And there's a situation where you pull for Fine Motion right now. You get 3LB Fine Motion. You don't necessarily spend a crystal on it because you have other priorities. And you go and you pull on the Marzensky banner because you like Marzensky and you want to get her the first time, and you get 3LB Marzensky. I know you only technically need 1LB, but let's say you get lucky and you get 3LB Marzensky, and now you're in this awkward situation where you need, like, you would like to have an MLB copy of either of these. You don't necessarily want to spend your crystal on something like this, but you could spend the selector in the next year. But hey, there's this new banner coming up where they're both on it, and you have 3LB of each. If I go to pity and I get lucky on both sides, I'm wasting a whole pity. But what if I just daily pull, because they're both nice to haves, but I don't necessarily need them? This is like a prime example of why the daily pull is so good if you're willing to spend real money on this game. So the last thing to remember is if you actually daily pull every Uma banner, it is a significant cost. It's 18,250 paid carats. Like 7,500 carats is like 15 bucks in this game, so you're spending 30 bucks over the course of a year, which I know is not much, but it's a good 40 to 50 bucks to do this additional. So it's not a negligible cost. It's about 2/3 of a spark if you just pull the Uma banners. If you add in every single regular banner, you double this to a full spark, which is crazy because that's a whole pity. So you can't necessarily do this. You can, but it's not smart to do this on every single banner because this is a significant cost. Because eventually it's just better just to pull on the characters you like. So this is a niche thing to use every once in a while when you like a certain character or 3-star character, or you are in these niche situations where it's awkward to pull on dual rerun banners, but you wouldn't mind having them. And that is really the true power of this. It's the true power of the daily pull button. It is purely for people who spend money on the game, but it does offer additional value that is not given through the free characters in the game. And if you're on the daily pass, right, the monthly pass rather, you do get 500 of these to spend. And if your pull plan allows you to not, you can sequester off 500 of it, it might be good to just pull for things that you like, as long as they are nice to haves and not must haves. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis on the daily pull button. I know it was a pretty niche topic, but it was just kind of fun to me once I really got into it. So I'm trying to do a bit more involved things. That's why I'm getting these side topics out of the way. But again, every single time I do a side topic, there's just a lot more than I expect. So I hope you enjoyed this. And with that, burb out.